Precision and patience, the twin pillars of perfect latex crafting. Last episode, we showed you the tools you need. Today, we're going to show you how to cut and glue latex. Welcome to Rubbly Workshop. Welcome back, creators. Today, we're slicing and sticking, the heart of latex craft. Let's make sure every seam is as sharp as your imagination. To cut latex, we use a rotary cutter. Usually a 28mm blade will do the trick. So that's what we suggest you use. Don't forget to buy some spare blades as well. You should use a fresh blade before you start any new project. I'll explain why shortly. You'll also need a cutting mat. You don't want to damage your table or your blade now. Today we're going to use a bit of scrap latex. It's always handy to have scrap like this to do repairs or demos like this. If you have a friend nearby who crafts latex, they probably have too much scrap, like I do, and they may be happy to give you some for practice. Most latex sheeting has a dull side and a shiny side. It's good practice to make your mark on the dull side. It isn't seen too often. Let's use a gel pen to mark a couple of squares. I'm cutting a couple of 30mm by 30mm squares. Note that I'm using a gel pen. You may wish to use a chalk marker on lighter or transparent colours. You don't want these markings to be seen if they don't wash out easily. The secret to clean cuts? Remember what I said about a fresh blade. A sharp blade and a steady hand is what you need. Let's roll. Have a look as I'm cutting. I am cutting the lines as clean as I can. This means I'm not stopping on each line. Look at how these squares turned out. All nice and proper, that's what we want. Now you've seen how to cut latex, what can go wrong? Firstly, a dull blade will make a rough cut. Anytime there's a jagged cut in latex, it risks being torn. Watch how we deliberately mess up this scrap and it suddenly gets torn up. But if you look at one of these squares that we cut earlier, it's having none of it. We cut it with a fresh blade, and we made our cuts in one clean motion per line. Try not to stop as you cut. Anytime you leave jagged bits in your cut, you weaken the latex. Sometimes you're able to salvage a jagged cut. It just means you may have to cut a little more to remove the nick in your latex. It's not ideal, and you'll need to be creative. Oh, so now we have our pieces. How do we join them? Well folks, put away that sewing machine. You won't be needing that here. Glue. We use glue. You stick the pieces together with glue. Here in Australia, we normally use Foss Fitting Room number 9 from Leffler's. In the US and UK, it's usually Bostik 3851. There's a link in the description with the show notes, and that'll have different products for many different places around the world. This is a Solvent. It's used for cleaning latex, thinning out or removing glue. Kind of like an undo button for your projects as well. It's typically the same brand and type of glue, so it thins out your glue without problems. It's always important to know that solvent-based glues are toxic and flammable. Always use in a well-ventilated area with no ignition sources and use appropriate protective equipment like gloves and even a respirator. Always ask for a safety data sheet from the glue vendor if you're unsure and follow the precautions on it. We want everyone to stay safe. Now, back to business. I like to pour a small bit of glue in a glass jar. It's just enough for what I'm working on at the time. That way, I'm not messing up the fresh glue in here. We don't need a lid for the jar as the glue will stay okay for an hour or so. Never put the glue in plastic jars or any jar with a rubber seal on the lid. The glue doesn't play nice with some other materials and can damage them. Use the manufacturer's container or a plain glass jar as needed. The solvent evaporates rapidly. You really should have an empty solvent jar you can put a little bit into, but if you don't, it's okay. You'll have one soon, as you'll always go through solvent faster than you'll consume glue. Most importantly, don't leave it open for a second longer than you need. It evaporates fast. If the glue is a little thick, you can add a little solvent and swirl it about. I've just added some here with a pipette. I like to use a small art brush to swirl it around. When you get a consistency like this, that's generally good enough to use, but it's a matter of personal taste, so feel free to experiment. With the lids back on our tins, let's get back to work. So how are we joining these squares, I hear you ask? Well, in this lesson, we're doing the most common seam you'll do in latex making. Overlapping by 10mm, dull side over shiny side. Take the first sheet and find the dull side. Let's measure in 10mm from the edge, and make a couple of marks here. Now let's rule a line. Let's grab the other sheet and find the shiny side. Let's do the same thing here. There's rules on how the shiny and dull sides overlap, but they're not important now. We'll explain these in another episode. Let's just get a good seam. Place some masking tape up to the seams like so. This lets you apply a nice clean line of glue. It also stops the latex curling as much. You'll want to take your cloth and get a little bit of solvent on it, not too much. Now use this cloth to clean both the seams you wish to glue. Give it a bit of a scrub, only clean what you intend to glue for now. Did you notice how it curled? This is normal. As the sheeting dries, it starts to relax a little too. One little trick you can do is put tape on the back of whatever you're gluing. So let's tape off the next seam. Now we're going to back the actual seam on this piece with some tape. You may wish to cut small pieces of tape for more delicate pieces, like what we're doing here. Place the tape behind the seam like so. Now you've got a piece more resilient to curling. Not bad. Look at how this piece is holding up against curling. This is what you want. Using a 10mm spatula, or just a 10mm strip cut from a credit card, dip it into your glue. Apply the glue thinly, and I mean thinly. Think of it like spreading rumours. Too much and it's just a mess. Try not to overlap. One thin layer of glue on either seam will do. Wait for the glue to become tacky. This will be about 5 to 10 minutes. You can tell this usually when any curling has eased. There are plenty of experienced latex crafters who will insist on a single stroke of glue, without overlaps. It makes for a cleaner seam that's not bumpy. If you want to get better at this, try to do your seams in single strokes too, but we'll touch on that more in coming episodes. Now that you've allowed for 5 minutes to pass, let's stick the seam together, like so. This is an easy one. Both squares we cut are the same size. Do not stretch either sheet when applying. This distorts the seam, and you'll find it won't attach evenly. And as you can see, we've done that here just to show you. At this stage, you can pull it apart if you're not happy. And that's just what we're going to do. As you can see, we grabbed one of the sheets and stretched it as we were gluing. In the glue's current tacky state, we can pull it apart and reposition it. So now we've attached it correctly, this looks much better. When you're happy with how it fits, use the seam roller to finish the job like so. This will flatten the join, push on air bubbles, and help reinforce the seam. Congratulations, you've just completed your first seam. Another thing, let's put some stray glue here, because I want to show you something. It's optional, but I like to apply some talcum powder to the finished works. It tends to prevent any stray glue, such as what we've just put there, from attaching to anything we don't want it to on an outfit. So, with all that done, let's leave the finished seam in a dry, room temperature space and allow it 24 hours to properly cure. Now that you've done your seam, you can use a little bit of solvent to clear off any stray glue. And there you have it, a seam so fine it'll disappear right before your eyes. Let us know how you went in the comments. I'm keen to hear. Don't forget to subscribe to Rubberly for more Rubberly workshop adventures. When you subscribe, you're in a front row seat for the next lesson. So take care, don't forget your tools, practice what we learnt today, and be ready for the next episode where we start teaching DIY latex repair. Bye for now. Hey, Thanks for watching Rubberly. Looking for a way to support the channel? Check out Rubberly Store. Simply visit rubber.ly and click the Store tab. At Rubberly Store, we have the Crafter's Gift Box, the ideal start to your latex making journey. We also have Shine by Rubberly, a lightweight latex shine and dressing aid spray all in one. Shine by Rubberly is handmade right here in Sydney with love. Every purchase helps keep our channel going strong. Your support means the world to us. Happy crafting.